Welcome to World of Marketing Podcast, a Foster Web Marketing production. Here's your host, Tom Foster.
Hey everybody, it's Tom Foster on the World of Marketing, and I am super duper excited to have my buddy, I've known this kid he's not a kid anymore. He's a grown man, but I knew him when he was a kid. I think we met when you were like 11, 10 or 11.
Something like that.
Something like that.
At a super conference.
Exactly. Alex Freeze, the Alex Freeze. Yes, Alex Freeze, the son of one Dave Freeze, also a super marketer in his own right. So the DNA flowed very nicely down to his son, Alex Freeze. But Alex, you have become a powerhouse in your own right. You are the Director of Marketing? Is that Director of Marketing at Credit Suite, working for the crazy Ty Crandall, my buddy, who's also been on this podcast. Very successful entrepreneur, businessman. And when you came on, that company was about $5 million company, and now it's doing $15 million in 3 years. And so you've tripled that in just a few short years. And that's what I want to tell everybody about, is what did he do? He's going to tell us all his secrets. No, he won't. He will never do that. He's going to at least tell us a little bit. So Alex, thank you. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. Excited to sit down with you.
Yeah, buddy. And, I get to see Alex. We see each other a couple times a year, business Black Ops events. Whenever we can see each other hang out. Alex has got my tremendous respect as a marketer. I've seen this guy grow up. He went to High Point University, Nito Kubain University of teaching marketers how to be fantastic businessmen. So you learn from the best, right? What was that like? Tell me a little bit about that. Obviously we kept in touch. You interned with me for a couple years,
Yeah.
And that was great. So what was that like, going to the school of Nito Kubain?
He's a pretty interesting guy. I don't know. I guess he's pretty well known.
In our world, he's well known.
Yeah. Great at forming relationships. I think he got Dan Kennedy to sit on the board of the communication school there. So he's bringing in all sorts of really interesting thinkers. Steve Wozniak is kind of like an adjunct guest professor there. Just total access to all sorts of people. Mark Randolph, who's the co-founder of Netflix, is one of the entrepreneurship professors there. So bringing in all sorts of really interesting people and getting access to those people has been was super cool for me, to get them to ask them questions and kind of pick their brain a little bit. And they've gotten that entrepreneurship program to the point where every student, no matter what major they're in, is required to take some entrepreneurship classes, which I think is pretty cool. So they've really embraced that and pushed it everywhere.
We're all entrepreneurs deep down inside. We have it all in us. So you go to school, you get out of school, you're trying to think about what to do. You interned with me for a little bit, but what brought you to Credit Suite? Why did you choose to go to work with Ty?
I really liked what Credit Suite was doing. They were helping small businesses and figuring out creative ways to get small businesses financing. And I had no idea how difficult it was for a business to actually get financing. We see people get denied all day long for super successful companies that have revenue, that have cash flow, get denied for simple things like the address that they use on the application for a loan or for a credit card didn't match what they registered with their Secretary of State with. And Credit Suite was really the only company at the time that was highlighting anything remotely like that, and had a solution for it. So that kind of drew me to it. And I had known Ty for a few years, worked with him on copywriting and some other stuff before. So I was familiar with him and his craziness, his crazy energy.
You seem to be drawn to crazy people and enjoy being around in their presence, so you can relentlessly tease them. I think that's kind of your thing.
I don't know. Are you speaking about that from personal experience?
Maybe I am.
I remember teasing you when I was interning, but definitely after.
Endlessly.
I needed that unpaid internship.
That's right. That was great.
But
so, go ahead.
Yeah, no, that kind of drew me to it in the first place, and it just kind of took off from there.
So Ty Crandall, crazy man. All right, so you start there. So tell me, what was the condition of the marketing department when you got involved?
So to Ty's credit, he's a crazy mastermind. Was the marketing department. So it was Ty and another person who I really respect, Jin, who runs all of our advertising, our paid advertising. They were just doing everything. And so it was the three of us pretty much handling everything from writing all of the copy, creating the ads, designing and building the landing pages, coming up with all of the new ideas, managing our Infusionsoft account, all of that fun stuff. And that's actually what I was brought on to do. I have a lot of experience and I like doing email marketing. And so that's kind of why I was brought on. And what I was originally doing with Credit Suite was all the email marketing stuff.
With Infusionsoft, now known as Keep.
Yeah.
But yeah, you were, and still are, kind of a Infusionsoft master, right? I mean, like that takes some skill to get to that point, but I've seen some of your campaigns. Folks, you want to see a blueprint? Oh my God, some of the campaigns that you've got going on that you showed me just, made my eyes bleary with the depth. So it's just that you just came on, just the three of you at first. Here you go, Alex. You handle the email marketing, and that's kind of where it started.
Yeah, and you made it sound like I was solely responsible for the growth. Credit Suite was growing like a weed at that point.
I'm trying to give you all the credit.
As much as I want to take it, there's definitely a great group of people involved in it. But it was growing to the point where we really started to evolve, and we immediately started hiring additional people. So I hired a virtual assistant that came in and started handling a lot of stuff that we were doing in Infusionsoft and on the landing page side. We're really direct response marketing focused. So getting people to take action through various, little mini journeys was kind of the way that we've always thought about the marketing for Credit Suite. And we grew, I think I was 30 something, 30th employee or somewhere in there. I have no idea, to be completely honest. And I think within the first year of me being there, Credit Suite had grown to, 50 or 60 employees.
Right.
Contractors.
And so now you have a team, right? You have a team that you work with, and the team's in the Philippines? We're
all over the place. So,
you outsource, you've got just this giant network of team. Yeah, it's not just in the Philippines, but it's outsourced all over the place. And you're in North Carolina?
Yeah, right outside.
So you're handling this team. And how big is your team?
So we've got 15 people on the marketing team, including myself.
Wow.
So they're handling everything from, we've got 2 copywriters on staff. We've got Jin, who runs up all of our paid advertising. He's in Australia currently, but he moves all over the place. We've got Janet, who's heads up our content team, our blogging team. She's up in Boston, and then we've got content writers and social media people. Then we've got 4 people in the Philippines and 2 people in India.
Do you guys have a physical office?
Not anymore. So Credit Suite actually had 2 offices, one in Tampa, where we're headquartered, and then one up in Spokane, Washington. We've got a lot of operations people, billing people, finance people up there. And when COVID hit, I think we were kind of thinking about this beforehand. The marketing team had just always been 100% remote. So when I started, Jin was in Bali, and I was in Kansas City, Missouri, which, no offense to the people who live in Kansas City, but I needed to get out of there. We won't go into why. That's a different podcast.
There's a lot of meat. There's a lot of meat in Kansas City. I remember you telling me that. There's a lot.
Yeah, if you like steak and smoked meats, it's the place for you.
That's what it was. If you like smoked meats, this is the town.
I do love smoked meats, but I just moved to another place with smoked meats.
Right. Different version.
You can't beat Kansas City ribs, though. That's, so yeah, we had just always been remote. And so when we started hiring people in the marketing department, we just sort of went that direction. There was maybe a little bit of push from, operations to get some people in offices early on. And I don't remember exactly what I said. I think it was like, okay, sure. And then we just hired a remote person. And it ended up working out. So at the beginning of COVID, we sort of took a look at everything that was going on, and COVID actually worked out really well for us. We were able to help a lot of businesses get access to capital that they needed.
That's great.
And we shut down both of our offices. Everyone was going 100% remote because of COVID anyway. And people started becoming more productive. They were just as productive, if not more productive, working from home. And so we just sort of, I think Megan or Ty can kind of talk more about their thought process into getting rid of the offices, but we're now a 100% remote company.
That's fascinating. Well, we found the same phenomena happen when COVID. We all went remote, and we got way more productive, and we're really virtual. The only reason, I only have an office building because it's, I bought an historic building in Old Town. That's the only reason why I got it. And I think that Buster and I are going to be probably the only 2 sitting in there. We'll have people come in every now and then, and visitors. We'll see what happens. But that's great. Well, great. Good for you. So tell me some of the things, like I like, here are my big questions. Tell me like one of the biggest mistakes that you made, because it's always fun to hear that you're willing to share. Would you do that? Would you share one of your big moments so I could tease you about it later?
I think probably the biggest mistake we sort of experienced was a level of complacency in the marketing, especially in the marketing department. Marketing departments get complacent, everything just goes downhill.
That's the truth.
And it was probably 2019. We had done a lot of stuff leading up to 2019, and then just sort of stopped doing anything new, just continued going down the same path that we were in. We had all of these like 4 or 5 webinars that we just continually ran on a loop because they were working, and we never really thought to ourselves, or maybe somebody was, but I certainly was not. Hey, we should maybe think of some other stuff.
Yeah. Maybe do some fresh content.
Yeah. And the other thing that there was complacency with our offers, but just complacency in general of things are working. let's just keep doing the same old stuff, which I'm a big proponent of evergreen marketing. And I think there's always a place for having, continual offers and evergreen offers that can just live out there in the wild. But we were also getting to a volume where our offers would run their course. People had seen them too often.
Sure.
And we were never kind of evolving past that. So that was seen in a combination of a few other things within the company, but we saw a pretty significant decline in revenue. And it took us a while to figure out all of the other pieces that were going on. There was some stuff going on with the sales team. There was definitely stuff going on within the marketing team. Morale started to fall off, and once that starts happening, everything just tanks. So that's probably the biggest thing. And that was there's a lot of things going on there that were all sort of culminated into a big wake up call for all of us.
When was that? 2019, you said?
That was towards the end of 2019. Yeah. And, the complacency obviously started before that. It took a while for us to start to see that decline and to really recognize what had happened going back and doing a retrospective on it. We saw all sorts of things that we were doing like crazy people.
And this is when you're at around the 5 million rev mark?
So we had jumped up. We were at 5 million before I came on.
Jumped up, okay.
And we had jumped up, and then our monthly revenue, fell significant. I can't remember the exact percentages, but it was pretty significant. Month to month, it just kept going down.
Yeah, it was not
at the end of the year. Yeah.
And so wow, that's great. Well, thank you for sharing that. Now, what made you realize that it was the marketing that was the problem?
It wasn't all just marketing. There was stuff going on.
You said it was all these other things, but how did you identify the complacency in the marketing?
Just sort of a self-actualization and a deep conversation with Ty. And when I say that, there might have been some shouting back and forth. I don't
That's
say
deep and loving. Deep and loving conversation, shouting.
No, but it was, we just sort of took a step back and looked at what we were doing. And we did, at the same time we were doing stupid stuff, we were also doing something super smart, which there's some credit to be given to Ty. There's some credit to be given to the Black Ops Mastermind, where I think we discussed, preparation and being prepared. And so we had started at the same time, all of this complacency was happening in our advertising, in the offers that we were presenting out to people, in our email marketing. We had just set up a bunch of this stuff and we were like letting it run. The content team, we were directing them to every time they wrote a piece of content, they were also writing recession content, because we kind of felt like there was bound to be something in the marketplace that would happen. Even if it wasn't a full-on recession, we would have content that was ready for some kind of weird socioeconomic thing to happen. And that had been going on for all of 2019. So by the end of 2019, going into 2020, we're like, oh, everything's looking really good. We had fixed most of these issues. Marketing was on the right track, and then COVID hit. And so, talk about the luck of the draw there. We had fixed all of our silly marketing issues, mentality issues, morale issues. And going into the new year, we had, a fresh look on everything and had banked all of this great recession content for when COVID hit. We just changed the word recession to COVID-19, I think, in all of those blog posts. But
nice pivot.
And we were also in a space, coming out of this funk with a new mentality, to where we had been doing a weekly live stream or 2 weekly live streams, where we sort of do like a mini webinar, educational webinar type thing over YouTube Live and Facebook Live. and we just jacked the volume of that up. So we ended up doing 3 live streams a week through COVID, and the engagement rates, just everyone sitting at home, went through the roof on those.
That's great. You know, it's I guess we're giving some plugs to Business Black Ops, of course, which, you know, Alex facilitates with his dad, Dave Fries, which is an event. Well, it's a couple times a year we get together. It's a high-end marketing mastermind group. It's really invitation only. There's really only a few of us. That's what he's talking about in there. And now, when I just was saying, I forgot what I was setting up. God damn it.
Sounded good.
All right. Well, okay. It's okay. So tell me, what was, and maybe that you already answered this, but what do you feel like is one of your biggest wins? Like, what have you feel like that, you know, over these years that you've contributed that was really something that you're really super proud of in the marketing world of Credit Suite?
I think that's something that we're working on right now, which I got a chance to talk to you and Buster and Molly about some of the stuff that we're doing and how we're looking at marketing planning and really thinking about not being complacent in our marketing and making it easy to be more proactive about stuff. And so something that we're implementing now is a much more structured view of how we, while still being able to be dynamic and agile and do all of the stuff that we need to do as marketers, but have a more defined plan, especially for a company that's our size. When we dug into customer journey and our marketing and all of the fun stuff that's going on there, we realized there's an oversaturation of content. And when I say content, I mean video content, blog posts, emails.
All of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the beginning of our customer journey, we were really great at bringing leads in and getting them to, you know, attend a webinar or whatever we wanted them to do. But then we were terrible at, one, telling people what we do, which sounds super, like it should just be by default, you tell people what you do. But when we analyzed everything, we weren't effectively telling people what we do. And also showing them kind of the proof of that at the right stages in the customer journey. And so we saw that there's too much content at the beginning. And then when, you know, our leads finally got to attending a webinar and they started talking to salespeople, we were like, all right, our job's done. Time to go. So we figured that out and have started making very proactive changes to the, you know, some of our email sequences, the way that we show advertising to people once they hit the sales sequence and start talking to our sales reps. They're seeing all sorts of advertising, from videos literally titled "What We Do at Credit Suite." They'll see those videos over Facebook ads, YouTube ads, and then they'll start to see, you know, kind of consideration, decision-making type ads like case studies, testimonials, video testimonials, that kind of thing. So I'm super excited about that. That's been where we've done our initial test. That's been super successful. The people who see that content are obviously way more prepared to talk to a salesperson.
Right. And speaking of sales, so tell me, how big is the sales department at Credit Suite?
We have 9 reps or 8 reps and a sales lead. And then we've got a setter team that has 10 or 11 setters on it. So they'll do, they've gotten pretty big. They'll do all of the outbound calling and list calling and handle a lot of our inbound volume before they get to a salesperson. And
so how do you work intimately with that group, the setters and the salespeople?
Yeah, so we work a lot with the setters to create lists for them to call. So if there's events, so we just did something that we call the Funding 30 Challenge, which there's at this most recent one, we're now doing it quarterly. This most recent one, we had over 4,000 people register for it.
Wow.
We had 3,000 or so or show up throughout the week. It runs for 5 days, a couple hours a day, kind of like a virtual event thing. And so a lot of those attendees that we know people will attend or who attended will go directly to the sales team as opportunities. All of the rest of our registrants setters will just go through those call lists and call everybody who registered for an event like that.
Now that event, who came up with the idea for this event?
So that one
was that I guess is that a marketing idea, a sales idea executed, or does the marketing department say, here's the plan that we're going to do, here are your scripts, go? How does that kind of work?
Yeah, so we had seen people do a similar format before, and we really wanted to test it. Ty had come up with the idea specifically for Funding 30 Challenge. And then we sort of took that and ran with it from the registration page and how we get people to, how we're advertising it, how we're marketing it. And then we'll write all of the scripting and that kind of stuff for the setters.
Okay.
I got a chance to come up with a couple other ideas for some of the partner marketing. So we have a partner program that we're doing some testing with right now. So we'll see how those events run. And then ideas like that will sort of bounce between Ty and I in our brainstorming sessions or one-on-ones.
And Ty is kind of the lead sales guy, right? In his capacity, would you say that, Alex?
He has taken on full CEO mode. So we just hired a sales. Yeah.
But he's got but doesn't he still come up with the ideas? And he comes to you and says, I got this idea. Let's do this 30-day challenge.
There's still a good bit of that. Yeah. He comes up with lots of ideas, and then we'll kind of prioritize them, say, here's what we're working on right now. Here's why we're working on these things. And then where does this idea fit in to the overall goals of the company?
Prioritizations and whatnot. That's
something that we've been getting a lot better at over the last, I would say, really over the last year, over the last 2 years. It's like night and day difference that I've seen in the company. So Ty and Megan will set big. Megan is like our buster.
Right, your COO.
Yeah, they'll set big, company goals, and then it's gotten to the point where I can then kind of digest that, ask questions, set marketing goals that will help us start to achieve those company goals, which has been a game changer. That has really defined down what we should and shouldn't be doing in the marketing department.
I remember now what I was going to say about when I was talking about BBO, because every year Ty does this presentation, like the top 10 or 20 things that you should do. And I know it's really your presentation, but Ty gives it because it's really, and I got to say, folks, it's the things that you got to do. And every year it gets better and better, and it just it lets us all know what they're up to, and it's just fantastic. I mean, the work that you've done, my friend, over there is very impressive, and congratulations on it. Great job.
I've got a great team behind me now that helps implement all of these ideas. Ty will come up with ideas, I'll come up with ideas, and we've turned it into it could always be better, but we've turned it into quite the machine.
Yes. Well, you're very humble and gracious. You're a good man, good guy. But you know, I don't know if all of those conditions would have happened had you not been running the show over there in marketing. So great job. Congratulations to you, buddy.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
All right. Well, everybody, this has been my good friend Alex Fries talking about being the director of marketing at a $15 million company that has tripled and just keeps on going on and on and on. It's the one we all watch. It's the stock to watch. So, Alex, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you. I appreciate you taking the time and letting me come on.
Oh yeah, man. Thank you for not abusing me or embarrassing me. I'm sure you were prepared to do that, but I appreciate for my sake that you didn't do that. You can save that for after we stop recording it. And I hope that everybody here has a wonderful day. And I'm not even going to tell them what day it is. They're just going to enjoy it. All right, you stay tuned. All right, everybody. Tom Foster and Alex Fries on the World of Marketing. We'll see you next time.
Woo-woo.